Mama Olivia. Good evening to our father, Reverend Azeka. We salute you and we salute our mama as well, Mrs. Azeka. We thank you for all the contributions your people have made in our lives. We salute you. Much of what we discuss here, we learn them from you. We say good evening to you once again. Yes, I want to go back to my nephew and niece. Yesterday, we were at Papa Opoku's place to name our nephews. That's his grandchildren. So I want to say good evening to Chrysanthi and then Chrysanda. Chrysanthi Nana Efia and then Chrysanda Nana Kofi. Yesterday was wonderful. With all the prophecies over your lives, we know surely that you are going to grow to be a testimony, to be a solution to your generation. We salute Papa and Mama. I want to say good evening to all our listeners again. You are welcome once again to Beaming Love. We have been discussing your niece and her niece, his niece and her niece. And we've mentioned time without number that these things we discuss are supposed to help us make our marriages, our relationships proof. They are to help us understand what our needs are and how to meet them in our marriages. We are certain that when these things are done, the marriage will be enjoyable. We would enjoy our marriages. And don't take the idea of enjoying your marriage for granted, because marriage is the bedrock of the family, and the family is the basic unit of the society. If marriage is the bedrock, once marriage is handled well, once marriage is gotten right, the family will be right, the children will be right, the home will be right. And when that happens, is the society that benefits. Because much of our issues of youth delinquencies and child delinquency, etc., those days you see the younger ones smoking weed. So you can smell it. You can smell it from a distance. You know that they are smoking. Or if the fellow smokes and gets closer to you, at least you can smell it. Now they have pills they take. Example is the common one they take and they charge.
Tramadol.
Tramadol.
Yeah.
When someone takes tramadol, you cannot smell it from anywhere. You cannot smell it in the body of the fellow, but it has a telling effect on them. I want to believe that with the marriage that works, the children will be brought up, and some of these things will be reduced. You are welcome once again. We would continue our discussion on her niece, his niece. We've been talking in recent times about intimate conversation, and we want to believe that by the close of today we will bring that aspect of the need of the woman to a close, so that we could continue with the others later on. We earlier identified that the needs of the woman includes affection, and then that of the man is sex. We are now discussing intimate conversation. We have more we can talk about on this program. Today we are hoping that you would join us so that the program will be participatory. You will be an active listener through your calls, through your WhatsApp messages, etc., so that we can share with one another, so that we can make our partners happier than we are doing now. You can join us on Facebook on Beaming Love, Beaming Love on Bishara, Beaming Love on Bishara 97.7. You can also join us on the TuneIn app on Bishara Radio 97.7. Then you can also listen to us live on Bishara 97.7 megahertz or through your radio stations. Also, you are welcome.
Thank you.
We have our usual Beaming Love pastor, the romantic and marriage issue solving pastor, who has been helping us deal with some of these issues. In the studio, we are still expecting our other guests. We have Pastor Aziz, Pastor Abdul Aziz Kwesivi Boso. Although,
Yes,
you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Although, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. It is a joy to be here one more time.
Okay.
It's also a privilege to be listened to by these wonderful people out there. So I want to say a very good evening to them all, and also to our senior pastor, the Bishop-elect, Prosper Felix Egbenyo, great man of God, from whom we've learned a lot of things regarding marriage. He was my marriage counselor, and then my marriage has not been the same. Yes, I also want to say a very good evening to my wife and daughter, Comfort and Esther. I know they're doing the listening. Say God bless you for the support and the care and the love. I love you too always. Yes, and then all to, in fact, Dr. and Mrs. Bagbiwit. I think it has been a long time. We've missed them so much. Yes, and then also to all the members of Paris Chapel International. I know a good number of them are doing the listening. I say, let's stand together. Let us build a better society for the generations that are coming after us. And just like our pastor mentioned earlier regarding the marriage being the bedrock of the family, and then the family the bedrock of society and all that. That is, even if you don't care that much about your marriage, but remember that it will affect you.
Yeah.
On the other side, because if society is, I mean, if we don't produce good people into the society, then we would get a lot of vices spreading and becoming stronger. Yeah. And you could be attacked, you could be a victim of one of those vices, could be attacked by an armed robber or whatever, and so many of all these things. So if we keep our families well, then we are preparing the society, making it even peaceful for us to even enjoy it, even as individuals.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's very important that we take our marriages seriously and also endeavor to enjoy, because God intended it for us to enjoy and not to endure.
Wow, God intended it for us to enjoy, but not to endure. For us to enjoy, not to endure. And we are saying that one of the ways by which we can enjoy this marriage is to understand the needs of one another.
Absolutely.
Because we establish here that a failure to meet the need, or a need, can bring a whole lot of confusion in the family, in the marriage. It can go as far as causing one or both sides getting involved in affair. We gave a definition of an affair here, and I think in this program we established that having an affair does not only have to do with having a sexual intercourse, but being emotionally attached, whether or not it includes sexual intercourse, is an affair. Also,
yes,
just throw some light on the affair before we go to our main issue.
Yes, so it's falling into a state of deep love with someone. It may include an affair or not an affair. So you can imagine you are with your spouse, but actually you have a very deep feeling for someone out there. So though you look at your spouse, but you are actually not feeling for the person, you are feeling for someone out there. That is an affair. And it has a potential of breaking, because if this thing degenerates and gets to the next level, you may think that, well, why live here and not enjoy? Why don't I just go out and make it with the other person?
Yes.
Yes, and before you realize, divorce comes in. And we have also established that the dangers of or the consequences of divorce is irreparable. This is very, very serious for us, because your children will be affected emotionally, psychologically, you'll be affected even physically, and then so many things that goes with it. So meeting the needs, our needs, and sometimes there's a feeling that, well, I'm not enjoying my marriage with the other person, so that's why I want to move on to the person that I may enjoy it with. But we say it's not really about it.
Yeah.
Some have the idea that, well, if you find the right person, then you have an everlasting joyful marriage. But who is the right person?
Who is the right person?
The right person is the person whom you've understood and is able to and are able to meet their needs.
Okay.
So even the current person you are with, understanding them and able to meet their needs makes them the right person for you.
That's okay.
Yes, and so when you understand them, then you move forward to enjoying your marriage. Yes, that is how it goes. But if you think that there's a better person out there, let me jump to the next person out there, probably looks better. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think last week, Tuesday, I was privileged to speak in church, and I was saying something that I want to repeat here, which is that there are certain lessons in marriage, when you fail them, God will repeat you.
That's good.
Yes, even if you change a different school, you still have to pass that lesson to progress. A different school here means that going into a different marriage. That lesson will still come. Until you pass it, you're not moving forward. So moving on to a different school, you have wasted money and time and opportunity of learning the lesson faster. So if you stay where you are, you can learn the lesson faster, and God will promote you, move faster in your marriage.
Thank you also. You have to stay and learn that lesson so that you can make progress.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, some get to a point where they feel that, oh, after all, we are not compatible. You notice that in an affair, there's that kind of initial bonding, and they can continue until they begin to have problems themselves.
Exactly.
And even in that affair, they come to notice that, oh, after all, it is not as we thought.
Yeah.
Then he's looking for another one, or she's looking for another one, and then the repetition continues.
Exactly.
It continues. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we were talking about intimate conversation. Last week we spoke about a number of issues under intimate conversation. Today we want to look at some of the tips. We concluded with last week with how we should handle that kind of intimacy as far as conversation is concerned. When the situation where the work, our jobs take us out.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have distance relationship or marriages.
Yeah.
The man is working in town A, the woman is working in town B, or the nature of the work takes him out of town 2-3 days, 1 week, sometimes as much as 1 month. Well, he wait until moon die before he will land and come and spend 2 days or 3 days, and then he will go back. Let's take it from there. How do we handle that? Then we can continue.
Okay. Permit me to bring those who might be listening to us for the first time, just get them along with us. Like our host mentioned earlier, that we are handling how to make your marriage affair proof. And we said that there are some things that we need to know about our spouses to be able to make our marriages affair proof. And these things are their deep emotional needs. So everybody have their emotional needs. And when these emotional needs are not met, they are tempted to find a way of meeting it outside of the marriage. And meeting these things outside of the marriage may constitute an affair, which we discussed earlier. And so we are now looking at the needs so that we'll be aware of those needs and then do something about it. And of course, there's a very important note that I want to bring as well regarding this thing, which is that men often think that what their needs are the needs of the woman. And women also think that their needs are the needs of the man. So they, instead of giving them the need of the other person, they actually give their needs to the other person, thinking that the other person should have it or should need that. And so we want to, so they are practically different. The need of men are different from the needs of women, even though there are some few exceptions here and there. So the first thing we started looking at was affection, which was the number one need of the woman. We discussed it thoroughly. And then sexual fulfillment for the man. Now we are looking at intimate conversation. We just about one up in intimate conversation, which is a very important need of the woman. And so we did a lot of things regarding that. Now we are looking at the tips regarding intimate conversations. Yes. And we got to the point last week that we realized that there are people who, for their job, will not be able to have this time that we spoke about. In fact, somewhere in our submission last week, we mentioned that it is good that if couples can spend about 15 hours every week together. So if let's say your work is such that you are away for a month before you see yourself, definitely you can't have 15 hours a week. Yes, that's going to be a challenge there. But we do suggest that you can call. Always try and remain in touch with them by phone. I think some may resort to messaging and then emailing and all those things. Well, that is okay, but that's not going to be that, because there are some things about hearing your voice that adds to it. So it could just be they will not be able to really find your mood, your exact mood in your writing. You could be feeling differently and writing differently, trying to convey a different feeling. But when you are talking, they are able to get these things. So call would be good. If you can do Skype, wonderful. In that case, they hear your voice, they see your expression, facial expression.
So now the video calls are all over.
Video calls, yes, WhatsApp, exactly.
Emo,
yes,
all of them.
yes.
It's like all the these things are now doing.
Are not doing it. Video calls everywhere. So let's resort to these things. Give them those. Even it builds the trust. Yeah. Well, they know where you are. Because even there are times you see in movies and places where a man would actually be lying on the lap of a woman and calling the wife, and then the conversation is different. So even there are times very suspicious women may not even be that satisfied even with a call. But if it's a video, they see your environment, they see what is happening, what you're doing and all that. At least give them that assurance that, well, nothing untoward is happening. Yes. And also where you say you are actually there and not in a different place. And all that. So I think the video call, which is now very common, would help. So getting in touch that way would help. And then also, when you are back, make time. If you have children, you must get child care service where you can put the children somewhere and have time. Or if you can go out on a retreat or on a date with your wife alone or your spouse, so you can have time together to reconnect, to have that bonding, would really, really help. So this is one way we can help it in case you are traveling and your work is not in town and you can be away for a very long time from your family.
Thank you. So that is for us who are working in areas where we are taken out of home, where we have to travel, etc. Have a constant touch. I happened to travel somewhere. For the timing, it was even different, about 6 hours different.
Wow.
Sometimes I would stay awake in the night to estimate the time they will come from school.
Yeah.
So they might return from school between in Ghana here, they will return from school. Where I was, that would be between 11 p.m.
Wow.
and then 12.
Wow.
But I will stay awake so that I will talk to them, talk to my wife, talk to the children before I go to work. The following morning, after my wife, after her, at any time we can talk.
Yeah.
But after the children, when they go to school,
you
can't
get
them.
Yeah.
And it did the trick. Doesn't matter the time I stayed there.
Yeah.
And I think now we have the advantage. We can be in touch. It doesn't matter where
exactly.
you are. So this goes to our colleague couples out there. We mentioned when we're talking about affection that even at home, where you are in the office, when you are going to the office, you go to your website, try to be in touch, send text messages, WhatsApp messages, etc. I mean, just a hi is even enough. Be in touch. So if you travel, you have to learn how to do all these things. Thank you very much.
So let me add this thing also. And in doing these things, let us keep showing love.
Yeah.
Um, our Papa says something. Papa, the presiding bishop of Perez Chapel, says something that we should always keep giving love. There are times that there has been one or two challenges, so there is an issue of trust. So you may show that kind of love without getting the other person reciprocating. So let's say that you call, you give messages, but the other person is not doing that. You keep doing it. You don't say, well, because if I text, he doesn't text back or she doesn't text back and all that. Even though
yes,
even though we encourage that if you all can do it, it will help. It will do the magic. But if one person is doing and the other person is not responding, don't say because they are not responding, I will stop. Keep on. You would get to a point where they begin to respond. But if you stop, then there might not be a chance of they responding. You would have shared your responsibility of bringing your spouse on board to having a very wonderful time of conversation and connection, emotional connection and bonding together. So if you do that and they don't do, you keep doing it. Keep showing the love. It is your responsibility. Marriage is not 50-50. If you have 50-50, when your 50 is not there, then it's going to be 50. And so it will not be full. It is 100-100. That means that at every point in time, there's an assurance of 100%.
100%.
Yes, so
Even
let's do it.
Zero elsewhere, it will still be 100.
100%. Yes, if there's zero one side, there will still be 100%. Exactly. If there's 100% from the other side, there is an increment for you, and that is wonderful. So keep doing it, and don't allow the other person not really coming on board that fast. Stop you. You keep on. You'll get to a point where the other person responds. In fact, in the book, it said that there's a couple who once said that there are times he would say to the wife, "I love you," and he would actually hear the wife saying back, "I hate you."
But still,
But still, he kept on until he would say, "I love you," and then one great mentor of mine once said that, in fact, his father didn't handle him when he was growing up, and so he didn't also love the father. At a point, someone told him to forgive the father. He said no, he wouldn't do it. But until he finally gathered the courage, forgive the father, and got in touch with the father with call conversation. And the person told him that, teach your father to love. So he said one day, he asked the father, why do you beat me so much? Why were you beating me so much when I was young? He said, but well, that was how I was also told. We were also beaten. So the father just did what he knew to do. So this time, anytime he calls the father, before he will hang up, he will tell you, I love you, Dad. But if he say, I love you, Dad, the dad will not say anything. So he will hang up. So he kept on saying, I love you, Dad, I love you, Dad. Until one particular day, he said, I love you, Dad. And the father also responded, I love you too, son. And from that day onwards, it kept on. So sometimes you need that persistence to be able to get them along. But if you stop, you will be shaking your responsibility of having 100%, at least always, in your marriage. So let's keep showing love. Let's keep doing it.
Coming together will be missed.
Exactly. Yes.
Thank you. So let's keep showing love. Let's keep showing love. Whether the atmosphere is good or is considered good or not, let's keep showing love because love reigns. Thank you. Although when we talk about intimate conversation, if we don't take time, we will not end.
And yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I want us to go full view
into
the tips.
Okay.
But before that, it's something just drop in my intimate. It has to do with conversation concerning ourselves.
Yes.
Conversation that concerns yourself.
Very important.
Yes. The other spouse can bring other issues, etc. Yeah. But that is what is bothering her or what is bothering him. Yeah. So even if it's not about himself or herself, once he is bringing it up, that's what concerns him. Yeah. Once she's bringing it up, that's what concerns her. Yeah. So it has to do with the two of you. An intimate conversation, understand, would help the other, you bringing issues concerning yourself. Since you are bothered about sometimes of personal and private issues. Yeah. There are men who do not know when their wives are in their period. Yeah. Someone said, whether it's mathematics or they don't know until they attempt performing and they will say, excuse me, this is what is happening. Although I think we need to pay attention.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
That. Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Okay, so if you have a comment, you can make on it and take us to the tips.
The tips. Yes. I think we mentioned it here again on this set before, that there are times some people say, well, we don't know what to talk about. We want to have intimate conversation, but we don't even really know what to talk about yourselves. You would always have something about yourself to share. I mean, how are you feeling today? What are your concerns for the future? What are your fears? What are your challenges? And all of these things. So when you talk about what are your interests? And all that. So talk about all these things, and then you would always have something to say regarding these things. And that is how the intimate conversation begins. And so in the tips, one thing we need to bring in mind to have this intimate conversation is to remember how we're dating.
That's okay.
Because normally in the date period you call almost all the time, and they did the magic. And unfortunately, when you got married, you abandoned it. Maybe with the assumption that, well, we are living together, so why call? It is important. This time it may not even be a call, but having that time to converse, not just the house chores and work and all this, and having that time to talk is very important. So cast your mind back to when you were dating, how you had this time of talking. There were times that, of course, you were apart, but you would talk on phone for long hours, or you go on a date or for a program somewhere, and then you have time, long time talking together and doing all of it. So let's fresh our minds with it and see how it felt, how it helped the relationship, and see whether we can bring that interest back into the marriage setting. So bring back the interest that we had when we were dating in conversing. Let's bring it into the marriage setting and make time deliberately for this, because it could be something to enhance your relationship together.
That's okay.
Yes. So that's one thing.
When I was in the university, I had a friend, and then he got to a time he told me that he has noticed that whenever we were confronted with assignments and equations, and I had the problem, there was a particular call I would always make.
Yeah.
And whenever I went to make, and those days were using the payphone, GT payphones, and we're given the opportunity to receive calls and to make calls.
Yeah.
So you go and make the call. That whenever I returned after making those calls, I was refreshed.
And
so
activated.
And then we laughed about it. But intimate conversation is making me understand what he was trying to say. So we should go back to it.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. So when we are calling, don't think that we are disturbing.
Yes.
Or you are busy. Or okay, when you come home, we talk about it.
Yes.
Sometimes we have to. Or some will say we should go back to it.
Exactly. You know, sometimes there is one thing about that is if your family is number one in your heart.
Yeah.
Anytime you remember about them, it puts you on your toes. What I mean is not under pressure, but it gives you the edge to do more because you want to make them proud. You would want your children to say, "Wow, Dad, we are proud of you," or your wife to say, "That whatever, honey, or whatever name you call yourself, we are proud of you." You always want them to have that. So when you have these conversations and then you remember, it should push you on and all that. So let's remember about these times. Of course, in those times when we're dating, we wanted to actually impress them.
Yeah.
And also to make sure we register ourselves so much in their heart, push ourselves deeply into their heart. It doesn't stop, it must continue once we are married.
Yeah.
Don't say that, well, now we have a marriage certificate. He cannot go anywhere. Like someone would say, the marriage ring is the smallest handcuff that is available. Yes. So don't say that, well, he can be with you just like we mentioned, but his heart and everything is outside. You'll be enduring your marriage this way. So let's bring that thing up and keep us going. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So we can go ahead.
Yes, and the next tip is that we need to just understand that the intimate conversation is a need of the woman. So having that time is meeting her need.
It's a need,
yes,
not a want.
Not a want. Because when I say a need, it is something that is part of their makeup. Yeah. It is something that makes them who they are. You don't want a woman who is not totally a woman, because you are not giving her all that she needs to become who she must be. So you give her that. You give her that. In fact, there was a certain time in our marriage, I wasn't really feeling. I mean, there was something I was expecting as romance that I wasn't seeing. Like, you know, there are times I'm trying to find out to you to explain
Yes.
it because
Yes.
yes,
Understand.
I mean you just need some things that to demonstrate how you really feel for each other. But you see, as a man, if you don't give them all, now you expect a womanly aspect
Yeah.
of your wife. If certain needs are not met, you don't see that womanly aspect of your wife.
Okay.
So you need to know that it's their need. You must give them that need to become fully woman. It's a need. I'm just trying to explain what need is. They must have it to become fully woman. There are times we expect that women would giggle, want to cuddle around you, and things like that. So that makes them women. That makes them women. And so if you give them those needs, they become women in full. You don't want someone who partly behave as a man. It becomes like a challenge for you in the house. Yeah, so let's know that it is their need. And also, just as how sexual fulfillment is your need, that is how it is their need. Meet it. Remember, anytime you want to minister, you want to do the do, and your wife says that no, you see things, how you would feel, that is how they also feel if you don't meet that need of intimate conversation. So know that it is their need and you must do it.
It's their need.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Osofo.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And then the next tip is if your job keeps you away, like we prescribed earlier, always try and remain in touch. Always call. If you can make it video, that'd be great. But you can also consider changing jobs. Yeah, you can also consider changing a job. Well, there are times it's not that easy changing a job, but if you have that opportunity, a job that can give you the free time, then you need to do it. I was doing a personal design of my life. Then I was asking myself, what, for example, if I'm no more, what would I want my children or my wife to say about me? What one particular quality I want to live with them, which is that I always want them to say that I have always been available. And what I mean by available is presence. Yes, always being there. Not a work that would take me far away from them and I will not see them. It's a work that I don't think I'll really accept. So yes, but of course that is for me. I'm not saying that you must do that, everybody and how you want to do it. But in any case, you still want to remain in touch. You don't want a situation where work has created a big gap between you and your family. And I think I've mentioned before that the number one regret of the dying is that we could have spent more time with our loved ones. Because the memory and their love would always be with you.
Yeah.
Not for the money. Look, you would get to a point where it is not needed. It has no use for you. It has no use for you. But seeing them around at the time that you are lying and that you can't do anything for yourself and they are there fully for you and you know that you really love them and give them your all is really, really heartwarming and healing. So we need to take note of that. So you may consider that, but if not, always use video call. It will help that much.
It will help that much. Ensure you are there for them. Ensure you are there for them. I understand women fall in love. In fact, are more in love with those who make time to share intimately, share intimate conversation with them. Yes. What it means is that conversation alone can make one get involved in an affair. In fact, a woman get into an affair. Because if you are not there and that co-worker, that's probably co-church member, etc., is there, he can take that love from you. Of course, she's with you. Maybe she might not even sleep with him, but she's with you and talking with you.
Wow.
I mean, talking with somebody. Before you realize your conversation is made up of brother so and so, and brother this said, Mr. this said, so I said, and then you are there, you want to talk, you cannot talk. Before you realize, you charge unnecessarily.
Yes, the man's blood pressure will be rising hearing these things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was reading something somewhere some time ago, I can't remember, but it was about the psychology of laughter.
Okay.
And they were saying that women likes to laugh. So men who are able to make them laugh they easily fall in love with them.
Okay.
Men who are able to make them laugh, they easily fall in love. And also, men like those who laugh at their jokes.
Okay.
So if you are the type who makes, especially the opposite sex, so if the man realizes that a particular lady laughs so much about his jokes, they tend to open up more to such people. And when a woman also sees that a particular man has some jokes that makes them laugh, they always want to be close. So maybe, men, that's a tip. You better learn jokes, learn to speak jokes that your wife likes.
Learn to give to
Learn to give to Liz. Yes, if it can make them laugh heart out, it brings healing, it brings bonding, and then you are able to deposit some things in their love bank.
This is Baby Love on Bishara 97.7. Today, I think we are having so much apple. And then the bachelors who are listening to us, you will have a tip as to how to get them close. Maybe they don't get close to you, begin to learn it. And don't go and call a woman to stand in front of you and you ask her, what did you cook today? You know, she will do it. What soup did they prepare? So let's pay attention on this.
Yeah.
Oh, can you add us one or two tips so that we could open the phone line?
Yes.
And continue.
And we just also need to know that women, just in connection with what I mentioned, women often opens up for those who spend more time with them.
Okay.
More time. So that also brings me back to our initial prescription that try and spend at least 15 hours a week. I'm not saying 15 hours a day. Otherwise, you can't do anything that day. Yes, 15 hours a week. Try and do something. Before I got married, I was listening to a man of God who said that to help you understand the person that you are in a relationship with, get a godly place where you can spend about 6 hours together and see what comes up. Whether you would quarrel, you would have disagreements and all that. When you're able to even spend 6 hours together once in a while, whilst dating, it helps.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it is 6 hours whilst dating, how much more you marry? Because women, when you spend more time with them, they tend to open up and love you even more. So let us endeavor to spend more time together with them.
Let's spend more time. Let's spend more time. And that is why you need to learn how to converse intimately with them. Today, the men, we are trying to tool ourselves how to meet this need. As we mentioned, it's a need of the woman. And to make one of the ways to make the marriage enjoyable and not endurable is to learn how to meet that need. And we are looking at these tips, and one of it has to do with learn how to spend time with them. Okay, we spoke about making demands, and then but before that, someone mentioned that financial considerations should not be considered or taken into consideration before meeting this need. And this is a need that doesn't need money. It's just time and knowing what to discuss.
Exactly.
Of course, you don't spend time quarreling.
So financial considerations should not be a limitation. Yes. Maybe let's say, let me tie it with the demands. So let's say maybe your wife is demanding a certain amount of money and you're not able. So because of that, you run away from your wife. You don't want to have that time to sit down, because you know if you sit down, the first one will be where's the cash?
So shouldn't the woman also know that if the man is running away, that means the cash is not available?
Exactly.
But
so
I think it all boils down to open conversation. Because if you are open to each other, the woman should know that under the circumstances what is coming. But we also spoke about demand. The issue of demand is that you either bring it or you bring it.
You bring it.
You either get it or you get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the fact that you have that financial demand should rather push you to have that conversation, so they understand that it's not available now and all that. So that is this thing. But of course, we also said that don't make demands, especially in a way that says that you don't care about how you feel. and how you will get it. You better get it or you get it. It breaks down intimate conversation, and ultimately it will affect your marriage.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's avoid making demands. Or often you say that get this thing done without really caring about. So let's try. And also we mentioned that there's a way you can make a request than a demand. A demand often wants to tell the other person that I don't care how you feel, I don't care what you think. Look, just do what I want for me now. And that's not what they want to do. A request can be done in a polite way, putting in perspective the feelings and the concerns of the other person. So you carry it on board in making your request from the other person.
Someone will say that if you don't get it, I'll make the home very uncomfortable for you.
Very uncomfortable.
If the home becomes uncomfortable, he'll go and look for comfort.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. That's why you go to work and it's closing and they can't come home.
They want to work overtime.
They want to work overtime.
Overtime without allowance.
Exactly. They want to work overtime. Yeah.
Being Love on Bishara 97.7. Yes, we'll be opening the phone lines in a moment. You can join us in the conversation on 050 323 7330. 050 323 7330 or 0500 900 606. 0500 900 606. You can join us with your question, your contribution. Just be an active listener.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. The next tip is don't be disrespectful to each other.
Disrespect.
Don't be disrespectful. When the other person expresses their opinion, how they feel, don't be disrespectful. By the way you will speak that back to them and all that. And also, it may not just be what you say. It could just be a gesture. It could just be a facial language. A body language or facial expression. It could even be your tone. That could be so disrespectful to the other person. So try as much as possible to respect their feelings. Because their feeling may not be how you feel. But in any case, respect it. Honor is well, I appreciate how you feel. Okay, let's carry their feelings along. Don't say, how can you feel like that? And I mean this thing and this, and then when you do that, you break intimate conversation. You don't give the person the opportunity to express fully how they feel, and there's a need for you to know really how they feel deeply. So let us avoid being disrespectful, even if you don't agree, even if their position may not be the best position, but there's a respectful way that you can handle it, and always try to find that respectful way to do it than being disrespectful.
Always find a respectful way of doing it. Because she is your wife, he is your husband, you know how to do it. Just as you know how to infuriate him or her, you also know how to do it respectfully. Choose the respect aspect of it.
Yes, never say anything when you are angry. Yes. Sometimes, unfortunately, that's the time we want to even say more when we are angry. That's the time you want to show, or you want to speak out and be free. But that can be the wrong time to do it, because at that time you may be tempted to hurt. Because you are angry, you want to make the other person angry by saying things that you will regret later when you sit back and think about it. So when you are angry, postpone the action and then do it later. Don't always try. It is a skill to develop. It's a skill to develop. That time when you are angry, that's the time that you fire like a machine gun. You just go in. You just place on your trigger and it's going. But that's the time to restrain from speaking, because you may say a lot of dangerous things that later you regret that you said it. Because at that time, instead of you thinking to speak, you'll be speaking out of anger. Something as your ego, just trying to satisfy your ego, will not be controlling what you say. But the ego is not with you. Afterwards it will stand aside, and you will regret and feel the pain alone. So don't say anything when you are angry. It can be dangerous.
Don't say anything when you are angry. Just relax. Take a sigh. Then keep quiet. You can continue later. And when you are continuing later, by all means, you now understand how to handle it. Say nothing when you are angry. Say nothing when you are angry. 050-323-7330. 050-323-7330 or 0500-900-606. We are still on Bimi Love on Bishara 97.7. We are discussing intimate conversation as a need, as an emotional need of the woman. Oh,
Yes,
do you have more to
yes. Stop digging up the past. Let's stay away from past mistakes. So there are times when you sit down to talk, instead of talking about the future and then brighter things, positive things, you are tempted to dig up all things, wrong things, mistakes, and all that. Bring it on board, and you are troubling yourself with it.
Yeah.
So it's like reinfecting yourself with the pain of that old time, and it affects intimate conversation. So in having this time, stay away from past mistakes. Let them go. They're in the past. Let them remain in the past. You are moving towards the future. Keep moving towards the future. Look at the brighter side of it, and keep moving. Don't dwell in the past. So avoid digging up the past. Yes.
So look at the brighter part of it.
Yes.
Or even in your conversation, if there's any misunderstanding you want to settle, just settle it, that particular misunderstanding.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
stuff like the other time, that's why you say this, that's the way you did this, and that and that and that. Now what it means is that you have been accumulating it, waiting for a day like this, so that you can also respond. So let's remember to forget about
let
the
me
past.
add this also. Don't allow the sun to go down on your anger or when you have issues. And I think we have addressed it several times on this plus set. When there is an issue, try and deal with it. Just talk it over. Have that time, just talk it over and put it aside and move forward. So that it prevents you from the other time this happened, I saw it, but I was just quiet, waiting for you. And the other time you did this thing, I was quiet. So let's try and then always give ourselves time.
Hello. Hello. You're welcome to Bishara 97.7. Mimi Love. Oh, we have lost that call. Please, that caller, please call back. And please, when you call, remember to reduce the volume of your set and help us do the discussion. Thank you. Yes.
Yes. So to prevent you from always digging up the past, when something happened, just make sure you deal with it before the following day, so that you don't leave a lot of things. There are some they would see and be quiet about it, waiting for a day. Some will even literally say to themselves, "I'm just waiting for him. Listen, I'm just waiting."
He will come again. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Please call back. We have lost the second caller too. Please call back.
And when you do that,
Okay, so you can join us on 050-323-7330, 050-323-7330, or 0500. Yes. Hello. Hello, good evening.
This is Mrs. Ofoyo online.
Hey, mommy.
Mama one.
Mama one. We have been looking for you to come and remove your mouth. Okay, this is how is Miss Ofori and the rest and the family?
By God's grace, you are doing well.
We thank God. We salute you all.
I saw how one sister wants to go. That's why I wasn't able to come.
That's okay. We understand.
God bless you guys so much for a good job.
Amen.
Yes. I've been listening since last week and I'm enjoying what is going on.
We are grateful.
Yes. So I'm sure I can also add just a little.
Please add. We need it.
Yes.
Okay. Conversation, trying to make our marriage work through intimate conversation. Yes, I think there are most of the tips that you mentioned. I love them so much.
Okay.
So I also just want to touch on it just a little bit.
That's okay.
Yes. Talking about anger
Anger.
There's one thing that we have to know is that reacting in anger on any issue never brings about any good result. Yes. Okay. So whenever there is anger, I am pleading that we should always try to calm down before we react. Yes.
Okay.
And then secondly, yes, I also want to touch on being intimate with ourselves. Okay. Trying to put away selfishness. You see, when we want to be so intimate, when selfishness comes into it, there's no way that it will help us. Okay. When we get into marriage, we have to make up our mind that I am there to please my partner, or I am there to make my partner happy. That's and when it becomes a vice versa, you see that all the time, this one will be thinking about the other, this one will be thinking about the other. And then that is what will put the love. And then the love will continue to move on. And then you see that intimate conversation will always be there. It will always be available because you are thinking about it. I'm thinking about you. Your worry is my worry. Your happiness is my happiness. Yes. And then I heard something of men checking on their job. Okay. If they think it's taking away so much time from the family, they can change it. Okay, yeah. Well, these days, you know, it's not even always easy to come back. Yes. Yes. So I think that option, yes, is good. But it's always, or it's likely not to be the easiest option to get out of it. But one thing I would rather see is that most men, sometimes it's not that the job is too intense that is taking them away from home. Some don't just like staying at home. I think there are things in their bottom. And some of them immediately children begin to step in. All the time their language is that, oh, the student is just too much. All the time they are away from home. What about the woman who is there with the children 247? The woman will be with themselves from morning to evening. And then you will come some few minutes they are running away again. So we are pleading with our men who cannot stay at home. We are pleading. The job is not easy. Okay. One person cannot do it. Yes. Yeah. Why do you have help? So that when you help, the children will go to bed early, and then you or your wife or your partner, you can also have the time to yourself. Yes, to be intimate. And then let's try to value the little time that we get for ourselves. Okay. You see, when we get or we sacrifice little time for ourselves for intimate conversation, and then it's not being serviced, it's not being valued. The next time the other person, maybe who started or introduced that, will not bring it up. Yeah. Because the person will think that you didn't value it. If you don't value it, the person will not bring it. Yeah. And then let me bring this in as the last one. Let's be open to each other in conversation. I think I've been mentioning this. Sometimes we try to be so open. It stops most of us from being secretive in our relationship. Yeah. When you are open to the other, it becomes very hard for your other partner to be secretive. Oh. And then lastly, let's stop monitoring each other. Oh. Let's stop monitoring each other. Yes. Yes. Most partners, especially when it has to do with negative issues. Yeah. All the time we are looking, all the time we are monitoring, either on their phone, using people closer to our partner. Wow. And then, yes, monitoring them. Why? Does it mean that the person doesn't have any good side, any positive side? Are you monitoring the positive side too? Are you applauding the person on that aspect? You see, if you don't do that, you make the person well. And then that is the only aspect that you'll be seeing about your partner. So all the time, your song, if you'll be thinking about your partner is that, oh, he's not good or she's not good, he's not doing well, this is what he's doing to me. Yeah. And then you are closing your eyes to the good side. So monitoring our partner is negatively, I don't think it's the right thing. Let's balance it. Thank
you so much. We are so grateful. Those were powerful points you mentioned. Yeah. We are grateful. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you. Yeah. Let's avoid all that, including monitoring each other. When we go ahead to monitor each other continuously, if that happens, whenever we get together, if we quarrel, we will quarrel. Hello. Hello, welcome to Baby Love. Mr. Jacob.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for the calling. Can you please reduce the volume of your sets? Okay. Let's go. Let's go on, sir. Sorry, Mr. Jacob. We are still waiting for your call. We are still expecting your call. You can call us back. The number is 0500-900-606 or 050-323-7330. We are still expecting your call that we should avoid monitoring each other. That has to do with the issue of trust. But monitoring, what it does is that we are always looking out for the negative.
Exactly.
We are always looking out for the negative. And when that happens, that means that we are not actually building a relationship. Yeah.
Yes, so I was saying that when you say, well, let me wait, I'm waiting for him, then what it is that you are setting up a bomb. It will explode. And when it explodes, it will not consume the other person, it will consume the two of you.
Yeah.
So it's good you deal with it and don't allow it to progress. Yes. And the next thing is that let us use our conversation to inform, to investigate, and to understand each other. So anytime we are talking, you are seeking to inform the other person of something, or you're trying to investigate, try to find out what is really happening in this person's life. Then the other aspect is trying to understand the person, so that you can help the person alongside. You can develop a relationship with the person based on the understanding that you are having. Yes.
And we men, we should understand. We should be able to listen. We should be able to listen. Always trying to look for quick solutions so that we can do our something.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. And also let us develop interest in each other's favorite topics. Let's develop interest.
Let's develop
interest. Yes, I know. Maybe our next topic would go deep into these things, but yes, if you realize that your wife likes fashion, she talks a lot about fashion, you can also try to learn a little about fashion and go along with her. Or you can find a very common topic that you all like, and then you can discuss. If it is football, women, we encourage you to also learn to talk about the football some. I mean, have a very common topic, a topic that you both enjoy, and talk on those things. It helps conversation.
That's okay.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes. And then the other thing is to balance your conversation.
Balance your
conversation. That means that this person talks, the other person also talks. Not that you only come and sit down and listen. No, be active. Also talk back. So the other person talks, and when one person is talking, don't interrupt. Allow the person to make their point, and you also talk, and give each other equal amount of time to all talk to each other.
You don't talk. You don't just pick the topic and then you start running with it.
Yeah.
Once the other one raises an issue, they say, and that's how then you take it over. It's just yes. I mentioned that there are some people you raise an issue, a topic, and then they collect it. There's no issue they don't know. They will always bring an example. They will take the topic from you. Once you raise it, they will take a topic from you. When you are doing that, your wife will be looking, or your husband will be looking at you. Will become passive in the whole thing. Then so that you do all the talking. Then you end up accusing him or her of being passive.
And that's not the kind of conversation we are talking about. We want the one that you both talk to each other, to inform, to investigate, and also to understand each other. It's not one-sided. And of course, intimate conversation is not a gossip session.
It's not a gossip session.
Yes, where you sit down and you talk about other people and things that.
I think that's why some people say that when you talk with your wife, when you are found conversing with your wife, you become a
gossip. That's where it's coming from. Exactly. And there's that societal notion that half of women, when they're talking, it is gossip. Okay. So what would you get from a woman apart from gossip? But of course, that is not the case. That's why it is a conversation to inform, to investigate, and also to understand each other. And of course, we also emphasize that it should be personal. Personal. It's about your personal needs, deep things, private things that can only be shared between the two of you. Yes, so that is how we need to look at it.
Okay, so we can wrap up.
Yes, and also, the last thing I would mention is to give each other undivided attention.
Undivided attention.
Don't be WhatsApp. Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, talk. Or your computer say, oh yeah, I'm listening. Or you're also in the kitchen busy doing something. Of course, there are times you may need something quick like that, but you must have that time where you spend time with each other with undivided attention. I am fully present, and I am with you. So you listen, and then the person talks to you. I mean, you talk with undivided attention. Don't always make it half-half. You are doing this thing, and it's well, let's speak along. No.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, Mrs. Ofori again.
Mrs. Ofori, yes. Welcome.
Yes, I'm on you guys.
That's okay.
Oh, remove your mouth.
Yes, there's just one last thing I wanted to add up that I forgot.
Okay.
You see, as married couples,
Yeah.
when we marry each other, please let's allow ourselves to feel free.
Feel
There's
free.
one thing I have realized is that normally somebody marries another person and makes the person feel in prison. I think the person has no life anymore.
Uh-huh.
Yes, the person doesn't feel free. You don't have the license. You don't have the freedom to do anything, to live your life. I think the person doesn't have any life to live anymore. It applies to both sides.
Okay.
You can't cough. You can't go out. I mean, you can't just live your life the way you want to live it.
You can't talk to people.
No. You can't even chat with certain people. So many rules are given to you. Most people feel imprisoned when they get married. It's not supposed to be so. We are supposed to be happy with each other. We are supposed to be free. Allow the man to be free. Allow the woman to be free. Sometimes women, when we come to the men so much, you keep him away from so many doors that God would have opened for him.
That's
And
right.
then so many things that would have come his way. You don't allow him to mingle. You don't allow him, to get close to business partners and other things. Then later, you want all his business associates to be men. When it becomes women, you have a problem. So it gets to a point the man will want to do to please you, or the woman will want to do to please you. Please, life after marriage, we still have life to live. Let the other be free. We shouldn't feel in prison. That is all I wanted to add.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Let's feel free. Thank you so much for that addition.
Right.
We are so grateful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alright.
You are that's very helpful.
Very, very.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye bye. So we should allow each other to feel free. We should allow each other to feel free. A colleague mentioned that he got married before he noticed anybody that he happens to converse with in the course of the day, or when he puts the phone down, the wife will pick it and call the woman and warn her. So he noticed that there was a time that all his female friends were now avoiding him. He didn't understand why. He call her, he go delete the call. The call
Yeah,
record. So he send a message, he go delete them. You don't see message, how you feel. So he noticed that anybody he's contacting, nobody they mind. Until one open up. He said, oh, so is that agreement?
Oh.
So Mrs. Ofori is saying that the trust issues are there, and there are also issues of insecurity.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about it. Sometimes it can be as a result of how we also handle each other, but you can't imprison an adult. There's coming a time that he will explode.
Exactly.
Like he mentioned, we can deny each other of certain opportunities because of how we want our spouses to live. Thank you. Oh, let's wind up.
Yeah.
In
fact, what a powerful way to wind up this session.
Yes.
What Mommy just brought in, because I know it's also very crucial to intimate conversation. There are some homes where either the man or the woman have lost their voice.
Yeah.
Either, let's say maybe the man is so domineering and bossy that the woman cannot even express how they feel. You can't even come and say let's talk. You can't even request. You can't even make. So there are homes like that. Let's tone down. Let's have that freedom, especially the freedom to express how you feel. It may not be accepted. You may not go in that line, but let them know you appreciate how they feel and give them the opportunity to express it. I know there are homes where these things are not there, where the other party or the other party cannot really express how they feel. You have no option. You are like a slave in this house. So whatever. So and that brings us back to the demand thing.
Yeah.
In that case, your feelings and how you think is not considered. So let's try to tone that thing. It will not help us in our marriage in the long run. There are times that the other person who you have shut down could have just a word that could just open a door for you or would help ease something in the house, but because they don't have the opportunity to speak, they are quiet and looking at you and loaded with all these solutions, and you are not able to, you are not privy to them, you can't resource them. So let's make our homes governable. Yes, let's tone it down. Everybody should, even our children, let's everybody be able to express how they feel, and let's carry it along in our decisions and the way we relate to each other. Yes, Mommy, thank you so much for adding that piece. It's really helpful. Yes.
Yeah, intimate conversation. That a husband who meets his wife's this need, the need for intimate conversation, understands her, but it opens up for them to understand each other. And what happens is that it builds up, you understand each other more clearly, and then you learn how to handle one another in the marriage. Once you give, the bishop, our presiding bishop mentioned that once whatever you give to a woman, she doubles it and gives back to you. So you give ketchup money, it gives you a sumptuous meal. You get that? You give a semen, a sperm, it gives you a child. In the same way, when you give trouble, you receive in double.
You receive hell.
You receive hell. You give trouble, you receive hell. So when you give, you meet the intimate need, the need of intimate conversation, you will receive multiple responses, and all your other needs will be met. The home becomes governable. Everything goes on smoothly. Intimate conversation is the need of the woman, and then as men, we have the responsibility of meeting this need. Yes, as Pastor Aziz always mentions, it might not, we can have instances where the men would desire to have intimate conversation. There are times men also just want their wives in the house. It's not that they are out of the house, they are in the house, but they are not there. So, but this is the need of the woman, and we have the responsibility as husbands to meet their need for intimate conversation. Men, we have been giving some tips, and some of the tips have to do with both sides. Let us learn how to use them. Even the bachelors have had some tips to run with, and I'm sure that when you begin to run with it, let us learn how to meet this need. The woman